Professor Vijay Reddy Vandali holds faculty position at present in prestigious IC College of Nursing, Kalaburgi, India. He has done BSc Nursing and MSc Nursing in Medical Surgical Nursing from Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Bangalore, India. He has been selected as an editorial board member for more than 20 reputed international and national nursing health science journals, and he has also worked as a resource person, speaker, coordinator for national state level workshop, conferences, health talks, and seminars. He has published more than 50 research papers, publications in journal and conferences. He has also acted as an internal and external examiner for undergraduate and postgraduate nursing programs in different universities and nursing boards in different states.
Very good morning to one and all, especially the team, the organizer of this webinar. So today we deal about the waterborne diseases and its prevention. As you know, becoming an underdeveloping country like India, we have to so much of prone to develop waterborne diseases. As we all knew that here in our country, still many peoples, like 60% peoples are not getting safe drinking water. So, as concerning with that, what all the diseases due to the contaminated water consumption, diseases will causes, and how to prevent those diseases. So that's our main focus today. We'll start with the presentation. So as we all know, water, it's a kind of life-saving liquid for us, and not only for the human beings, every creatures in the world, every creatures required water for normal functioning of a body. As you know, water also required by the non-living things, like non-living things like construction work or any kind of things. Water is most important aspect. As we water can save the life as life-taking lethal fluid also. When it becomes life-taking lethal fluid, if we consume it as a contaminated one, if we consume it as a polluted water. So let's see, 3.1% of the deaths in the globe causes due to the contamination of water. Contaminated water ingestion is causing 3.1% of deaths in the world as per WHO. I mean, World Health Organization estimates report. And here, let us see about the diseases. Which are the diseases we get from the waterborne? Like, main thing is diarrhea. As we all knew about the diarrhea, later we'll explain the diarrhea and other things. Then cholera, then hepatitis, then typhoid, then dental fluorosis, then giardiasis, dysentery, malaria, typhoid fever, cholera, as you know, then Escherichia coli, salmonella. These are the most common common diseases what we get due to the contaminated water. So let us see, as we have already mentioned, 80% of the diseases in the worldwide are due to waterborne. This is very good sentence. It was proven, and WHO has announced it. 80% of the diseases which are relating to the water or waterborne, we can say. Fine. So here, so what are the diseases most common? There are hundreds of diseases out there, but let us see which are the most common diseases in our country, particularly in our country and underdeveloping country. Okay, those diseases we have to discuss today. So let us see the next slide, please. As per the World Resource Report from the Washington DC based World Resource Institute, that is shocking news given 70% of India's water supply being seriously polluted. Yes, of course, 70% of water supply is polluted due to the various chemicals, fertilizers, various kinds of factories, okay, industries which are directly polluted water. They are just releasing from the factory to the rivers, factory to the sea, factory to the nearest ponds, factory to the nearest lake. Okay, this can, highly polluted. This will pollute the sweet water the peoples used to drink. So that's why 70% of Indian population, nearly they are not able to get the better water, okay, adequate water to drink. And United Nations also ranked India's water quality at horrifying level, that is 120th among 122 nations. It's almost at the end point. It's almost we comes in the end point. That is due to the we don't have policy protocol, to develop in such a way to manage the water, better way. So next slide, please. So main causes as waterborne diseases as we go through, causes are important. Direct and indirect cause, we can say direct pollution of water, indirect polluting the water. So what are the direct pollution of water? So for example, as we discussed, chemicals will be directly released to the water. That is one thing. And open defecation system in India still it is existing. Hope you know most of the villagers used to go for defecation in the open areas, not in the toilets, because we still lacking the toilets in most of the villages. The millions of villages, millions of houses don't have toilets, own toilets, so they use to go outside. That also causes the direct contamination of water. So indirect contamination of water in the sense we can do it, the persons can do it, human beings will do it gradually every day, like the ponds, like lakes, okay, through that, they can go for polluting long time, and the groundwater also gets, pollution. So whenever they go for drinking the groundwater in the form of borewell, we are going to get water, groundwater from the borewell, wells, etc. So that also going to be spread. Next slide, please. So waterborne disease, as we mentioned here, that's cause waterborne itself indicates the water which is contaminated will causes the disease. Those are called as waterborne disease. Okay, in that contaminated, what will be present? Microorganisms, maybe viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoal infections, okay, and toxins. Toxins are nothing but poisons, okay, biotoxins and other contaminants, okay. These can cause diseases. So the waterborne disease itself named as water, that's a contaminated water will causes the disease. That is so termed as simple way waterborne diseases. Okay, and here I have mentioned some illnesses which are most common we can see in the India as well as in underdeveloping countries, especially some part of Asia as well as Africa. These are the two continents which are highly prone to develop these common diseases due to the, because as we know these two continents are highly populated, dense populated, and poor countries. These continent having lot of poor countries, so that also matters. Okay, economically poor countries. And here seasons also go on changes, like spring and fall, and that during the change of season again the waterborne disease threat is high, because during the rainy season what happens, whatever stored the drainage water, that will start to move towards the river, that will start to move towards the lake, and that may start towards the nearest pond. Okay, this will highly chances to get contamination during the change of season. Okay, so so cholera, first thing I wanted to tell you regarding the cholera. Cholera is a disease. It's like a pandemic. Previous years, like a previous decades, what happens due to this cholera? Lots of lakhs of lives were taken because of cholera. Why? How it happens? That's a contaminated water and food that causes the cholera. That causes the cholera. Symptoms of cholera is very diarrhea. Patient is having a severe kind of diarrhea. I mean loose motion. Patient is having dehydration. Of course, if someone is suffering with diarrhea, loose motion is common, clinical manifestation of the diarrhea. And when loose motion is there, that causes the dehydration. Okay, and if the patient is untreated, the patient will collapse. Okay, because the lot of fluids, lot of electrolytes will be lost from the body, so patient will be going to be collapsed due to the loss of fluid volume or imbalance of fluid volume in the body. Okay, this is what cholera does, and cholera is simple, prevented. It can be preventable easily, but earlier days, due to the illiteracy, due to the lack of knowledge, due to lack of awareness regarding the such disease, so lacks of people's given their lives. And cholera can be easily preventable, and as cholera vibrio is a bacteria. Okay, cholera vibrio is a bacteria which causes the cholera when it causes in the contaminated food and water. Especially you can see in the villages, this disease highly prevalent in the village areas, because peoples are using open defecation, peoples are using unhygienic practices. Okay, this will causes the cholera. So comparing to urban, it's a far better urban area, but rural area is most affected due to the cholera. Next slide, please. Next slide. So here, climate change is likely to, increase the diarrheal disease. Next will be the diarrhea. As you might have, heard or seen in the newspaper heading, so many children were died, so many babies were died due to the diarrhea. Yes, of course, diarrhea is a easily preventable, but meanwhile, it's a life-threatening disease due to the contaminated water. So diarrhea, what happens here is babies and children are highly prone group to develop this diarrhea, because they have less immunity, and children are almost every time they used to play here and there, their hands may be contaminated, that, and they go on keeping their fingers, they are using something else to bite. Okay, that kind of things, and while drinking the water, okay, contaminated water. Especially you can see, I have shown in the images, some people, some kids are playing in the contaminated water. It's very dangerous. And some kids are playing with the highly contaminated drainage water. Drainage water is most dangerous. It can take life. Okay. So here in the city also, in the slum area, especially I could tell you, the peoples residing in the slum areas, peoples residing in the village, okay, those children are most prone to develop diarrhea. And highest death rate, I mean, mortality of diarrhea is in children's only, because of lack of immunity, okay, and unhygienic practices again. Awareness is required here for the parents, not for the children. Okay, so here awareness is most important to prevent the diarrhea. And luckily nowadays, diarrhea, we have a good treatment, so we can reduce the mortality, morbidity rate of the children's. Okay, rate of death can be prevented. As we are in the modern era, we can go for giving a better treatment. Next slide, please. Okay, this image you can see, this is a famous city you might have everyone gone through. It's Calcutta. This Hooghly riverside. So you can see a lot of dirt is accumulated in one side of the seashore. So persons are trying to remove, okay, but it's not easily you can able to clean it, because every day lakhs of people using, lakhs of people polluting, and one or two is going to be removed. That's not possible to do it, but this can cause waterborne disease. Okay, because the water what you are seeing there, that all is contaminated due to this kind of chemicals. They have thrown the chemicals. Where people are using it as a a open defecated areas. Okay, and they have thrown chemicals, open defecation. Okay, these all can contaminate the water which are stored or which are flowing there. Okay, and this water is going to flown by the thousands of villages. Okay, and hundreds of districts. Okay, across 2 3 states or 4 states, then that definitely will cause millions of people's waterborne diseases. And this image is a better one, so I just attached here. Next slide, please. So you can go through here also. This is one of the pic, as you can see in the slum area, like a metro city, Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, Bangalore. It's most common. It's a backwater, what you can see, and see the child, how the child is going to use the water. This is a situation, in the slum areas. Peoples are, dependent on this kind of water. There is no alternate way. And earlier, especially recently, it's fine, I think, but this is almost area. It's happening still in the rural areas along with the metro city slum areas. The biggest slum area you can see in the Mumbai, Dhara something is there. So in that area, you might have heard recently COVID also outbreak. COVID outbreak was so high because of lack of hygienic practices, lack of precautions. They don't follow the precautions because they are illiterates and because they don't go for following the precautions, and they are highly poor peoples and below poverty, I can say. So such people are focusing on how to earn their bread, that's it, and they don't go for following the precautions. Okay, that's the main reason. So this child is highly prone to develop diarrhea. Okay, and the children's, the rate of death is most significantly higher than the adults. Adults can survive from the diarrhea for some extent, but children's, babies are losing their lives. Okay, highly mortality causes. Next slide, please. See, this is pic of Western country. I took it. This is a pic what you are seeing from the Africa countries. Okay, African continent. Most of the countries, for example, Somalia, this one, Eritrea, Ethiopia. So many countries still peoples are using drainage water. Still peoples are reusing the waters of drainage. It's a very pathetic situation what they had, and that's why the rate of death in the children is most highest. In the world in African continent because of the unhygienic and contaminated water what they consume every day. Next slide, please. You can see this pic is from India in one of the metro city in India. So here you can see the kids are playing in the contaminated water. That's literally a drainage water which is collected, accumulated in an open space where children used to go and play. So you can see the childrens, they are just enjoying because they are innocent. Childrens are innocent. Okay, so they cannot able to go for any thinking or any kind of thinking regarding the consequences what they are playing. So here, children are playing in the contaminated water, drainage water. They are highly prone to develop many waterborne diseases. Okay, because when they get their hands become dirt, they are going for without hand wash. They go for taking food. They go for taking ingestion of food or water. Okay, and they are prone to develop diarrhea, cholera. Okay, and salmonella kind of infections. Next, please. So here, cholera we have discussed. We have discussed about the diarrhea. So next slide, please. Dental fluorosis. As you might have heard about this dental fluorosis, it's one of the most commonest among the diseases of waterborne. Okay, because dental fluorosis is the appearance of faint white lines. You can see the white lines or brown lines, streaks on the teeth. Okay, and it can causes younger children as well as adults. Okay, what happens here is fluoride is the content which is present in the groundwater. Okay, in that fluoride, what happens when they consume it? The people gum is going to become weaker. The peoples who consumes their gums and uh, bleeding occurs. Then painful, we can say painful jaws, painful thing of they experience to start pain, bleeding in the jaw, and there is a patches on the skin. Okay, this is what happens in the, it may be of any age group. Usually younger age group, younger children are more prone to develop, and even the adults also, it's most common thing. Okay, so here only prevention aspect in this fluorosis is they have to get tested the water before using. So fluoride content is there or not, they have to get tested from the labs. Okay. And for example, if anybody have a borewell, before start to drink or using that water, they should go for the, retesting the water. So the fluoride content they'll come to know. Then if fluoride content is present, they should not supposed to use the such water. But unfortunately, in villages, in rural areas, or in the remote areas like hill stations, people don't have facility, and the people, they are not utilizing the facility, we can say. Facility is available, but people don't have, that kind of sense to use those facility free of cost from the government, whatever the providing by the state or center. So they don't use at all. They don't take use of such facilities. Suddenly they go on using the water, and when they get the problems like this, they come to the seeking medical care. Then we come to know, and later it takes a lot of time to get recover. So here death is not, not at all possible here, and only the morbidity is there. The rate of, symptoms are high. Patients may not able to work properly. Patients are not able to concentrate properly. So, here prevention aspect is very simple. As I said, the testing of water and to go for safe drinking water. Okay, so that can be able to prevent. And already who are suffering, for them, dental bleeding is there. They have to go for, some kind of dressing, some kind of, whatever the things are there. They have to show the dentist, and they should go for the dental caries treatment. Okay, regular treatment can be able to avoid, or they can get recover soon after the treatment within few days. Next slide, please. So here, state-wise habitants affected by fluorides, state-wise we have mentioned as the statistical data as on 13th September 2020. The first fluoride state, highest people are suffering with fluorosis is Rajasthan, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Karnataka state, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Jharkhand, UP, Odisha, Assam, Haryana, Maharashtra, Jammu and Kashmir. So here you can go through this list of the state. It is hierarchy. What the highest number of cases reported every year. Okay, as per the states, the reported cases they have mentioned. You can go for the top 5 states: Rajasthan, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Punjab. Here, what happens is lot of people still they are using the water without testing. That's the main reason to go for suffering with the fluorosis. So they have to get tested, then they can go for using. So government in this regard, they have a lot of, yojanas, plans for the peoples, but peoples are unable to utilize it. That's the biggest drawback from the villages or remote areas. As you know, in Rajasthan, illiteracy rate is high comparing to other states. Bihar also high. Okay, that's why these two states are high in the fluorosis disease, because the peoples are illiterate. Peoples don't want to go for the taking any facilities, and don't want to, using the facilities to become, to prevent these diseases. Next slide, please. So again, I have mentioned in the map. Okay, in this map, you can see the color codings. Okay, fluorosis content. In this graph, they have mentioned with the colors. Again, in the Rajasthan will be the top. Okay, and even Gujarat also is there in this map. UP, MP. Okay, and Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra, till the Kerala. Okay, but again, here the prevention is very easy and comfortable. Fluorosis can be prevented easily, first thing. And fluorosis, who all are suffering, it's not a major illness. It's a minor illness. It can be treated very easily. It's not a life-threatening, and it never causes discomfort with the life in a bigger way. So we can say some people may suffering with the teeth pain, some people may suffer with the jaw pain. Okay, they neglect it and they go for the work for certain aspects. But whenever they get a severe kind of pain, then they seek the medical care, and then that could be treated very well. Fluorosis. Thank you. Next slide. So again, we can go for the prevention aspect now. The disease almost we have discussed. So how we can able to treat or how we can able to prevent effectively? Cholera we have discussed already, what purpose and how the persons will get cholera, how patients are suffering with cholera. As we have seen, cholera is a contaminated water and food that causes the cholera. It's a main host is cholera vibrio. Okay, this is the main host microorganism which can causes the cholera. So one thing here is we can prevent the spread of cholera first. So how to prevent the spread of cholera? First thing is to make sure the peoples are drinking safe adequate drinking water. That's the first thing we have to make sure. Next is the proper personal hygiene. As you know, hygiene is one thing. Hygiene, without hygiene, the persons are, prone to develop many of the diseases. Hygiene is the one thing you can keep away many diseases. Personal hygiene is very important. It may be, for example, oral hygiene. It may be, for example, entire body hygiene. It may be, food hygiene. Here, what to be done is here, food hygiene is very important. Food hygiene can be maintained very well here. Okay. And the best drinking water, the adequate drinking water is the only way to prevent the cholera. And here, the disposal of human excreta. As I said again, here point comes about the open defecation area. Open defecation area in our country is still it is practicing, unfortunately. So even though lots of yojanas plans announced by the central government, announced by the state governments, but still peoples are neglecting. Some still peoples are habituated with the open defecation. Unfortunately, they are doing so, and most of the peoples, again I'm telling, they are illiterates, and to some peoples are negligence, they are due to negligence they are doing. And some peoples, they are they are not aware about the plans what government is providing free of cost toilet facilities. They are paying the construction amount for the people's individual homes, but so many peoples are not able to take this kind of facilities yet. And hygienic disposal is okay. And treatment here for the cholera is main thing, body fluids lost. So what we can do is here, the ORS salt will be given, oral rehydration therapy we can say. ORS is given to the patient to regain electrolytes, such as potassium, calcium, okay, magnesium, such things. And here iodine and also will be rehydrated. And water, here again the safe water can be provided for the patient. And rest and sleep for the 3 to 4 days or 3 to 6 days is must for recovery from the cholera. And antibiotics will be given here to combat the infection, because patient is having infection, so that's required antibiotics. Okay, so broad spectrum antibiotic and narrow spectrum antibiotics are there. Usually here, broad spectrum antibiotics can be given because to fight against any kind of microorganisms. Okay, next slide, please. And I would like to discuss here is diarrhea. How to prevent diarrhea is the first thing is here. Prevention aspects here, again focusing on the safe drinking water, and improved sanitization. Sanitation is improved, and it should be proper and individual. Then it can be preventable 100%. And hand washing with the soap or liquid, for the at least 15 to 20 seconds. Okay, and hand washing is not like only pouring the water on the hands. In most of the villages you can see, I have seen with my experience, I have worked in 2 states, and I have gone through whenever I used to go for visiting the village areas, community areas with the students. That time we used to ask them how to go for hand wash. They used to pour some water, plain water they used to pour on the hands, then they go for the meal. It's not a proper way, because whenever they go for pouring the water on a hand, that doesn't kill the microorganisms which are present in the palms, which are present in the nail beds, which are present in the other parts of the hand. So what to be done? We have to treat them, we have to show them, we have to demonstrate the peoples how to hand wash. That's very important for the present pandemic also. As you might have gone through, the COVID also, we can prevent. That's a hand washing is one of the important precautions. Precautions we have to take, we all have to take. So hand washing can effectively prevent the or effectively can break the chain of any kind of pandemics or any kind of this waterborne diseases. So hygiene, hand hygiene is very important. Hand hygiene. So that's why we have to request them, request the peoples or request the community peoples, patients regarding importance of hand washing, how to wash your hands and with soap or with any kind of liquid nowadays available so much. So liquids can be used and they have to, at least wash their hands for the 15 to 20 seconds as per the guidelines of WHO, World Health Organization. And here, so, so here, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life. It is very important for the children or babies, as you know. Exclusive breastfeeding is the way to boost their children's immunity, to boost up their growth and development. Unfortunately, it's not happening nowadays in the urban areas because the the ladies will think of their physical structure or something else. That's a myth, just but they just avoid giving their breast milk to the babies in some people. But actually, the exclusive breastfeeding is helping the baby in many aspects as well as mother also. It's a lot of advantages to both mother and baby. Okay, for mother, whenever breastfeeding mother, they get very less chances to develop breast cancer or cervical cancer. It's a proven with the research activities. And in the children's, breast milk will provide a lot of energy. Breast milk will provide for the children because it's the safest, it is convenient, and children's immunity will go on increasing. Growth and development is better possible. And good personal and food hygiene is very important in the diarrhea. And health education about the infection spread. And these all things we have to teach the parents, not children, because children are not that much mature enough to understand the whatever the suggestions we can give, whatever the education or the materials what we give, they may not able to follow. But still, we have to teach the children also. Some children may get benefited. They may follow at least. And last one is rotavirus vaccination. It's rotavirus vaccination nowadays very effective way to prevent diarrhea in the children. So when we were in the childhood stage, we don't have rotavirus facilities. Rotavirus vaccination nowadays it's available, so it can be able to it can be able to prevent the diarrhea very effectively in all the children, especially. Next slide, please. And another key measures here is with concern to treatment is ORS, again, oral rehydration salt or oral rehydration therapy can be given to restore the hydration status, okay, to restore the electrolytes which are lost from the body, okay. So that can be able to restore. Then we can prevent the shock, we can prevent the hypovolemic shock, okay, and we can even prevent the giddiness and some kind of symptoms, okay. So rehydration, I mean IV fluid is also intravenous fluids, okay. That especially RL, Ringer's lactate, is very good enough for the diarrheal patients. Next slide, please. Hepatitis. Hope you all have heard about the hepatitis. It's hepatitis. There are so many types of hepatitis are there. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and here hepatitis A and E are most common one, and hepatitis A and E are causing, and it's taking a lot of lives. Okay, it may be children's or it may be adults also, and it's one of the waterborne disease, especially unhygienic practice of food, intake of food as well as the water, the hepatitis will causes, and hepatitis also can spread one to another person. So that's very dangerous kind of thing. So suppose we are in contact or we are in touch with the closest contact with the one person who is suffering with the hepatitis, and we also may get develop this disease. So here isolation is most important here, and here especially it's a education here we have to provide for the children's youngsters as well, because the disease is mainly causing due to the poor hygiene or very unhygienic practice of food and water here, and personal hygiene also very equally important here to prevent the hepatitis. And here terms hand washing term comes here, and hand washing can be able to prove very important aspect to prevent the hepatitis. So we all must practice. It's not due to the COVID or due to the hepatitis. The hand hygiene is one routine work we supposed to do before anything else. Or we come from the outside from the home, we have to have hand wash. Okay, then we should go for food, or then we should go for snacks, or even touching the babies. Before touching the babies, also we must have sense that we should go for hand washing. And even some smallest part of microorganisms may cause lot of infection to the children's also, and even especially old age people, geriatric peoples must have gone through this kind of hand wash frequently, so that they can able to prevent the deadly diseases. And here for the vaccination is available for prevention of hepatitis. The effective vaccination is available. But this vaccination recently, proving very well that death rate as well as the mobility rate is going to be preventable by this hepatitis. Next slide, please. So here in this pic, you can go for you can see the just pics which are concerning with the waterborne disease. Diarrhea is there, cholera is there, okay, malaria is there. And I said earlier, these are the direct diseases, diarrhea and all cholera. Some indirect diseases like malaria. I said how malaria will come. Malaria is going to be due to the mosquitoes, okay, and where the water is going to store a long time, okay, then this mosquito is going to be bred there, and that will bite the peoples, maybe young, old, whatever it is, doesn't matter, okay. When this mosquito will bite, it is this female Anopheles mosquito that causes the malaria. That is due to the storage of water, maybe drainage water or maybe water stored in your home, okay. Maybe in the tire water, in the waste tire water is present, or coconut, things, or you can even in the cooler, okay, even in any kind of waste things, whatever you have thrown outside the home or top of the home, okay, or inside the compound. The water when stored for long time, there is chances of breeding the mosquito, these kind of malarial mosquitoes, okay. When that will bite, that causes the malaria. So that's why these vector borne diseases are also equally important. So we have to take care of water not to stagnate, okay, and unnecessary water to be not stored for long time, that should be removed out of the home, from the top of the home somewhere else, okay, or inside the or outside the home. So first thing is to remove water from the waste things, so we can prevent the some kind of malaria and all. Typhoid fever, as I said, typhoid fever also, it's a contaminated water and food. Typhoid fever patient is having lots of problems, okay, because here the body temperature is go on rising, and metabolic activities are going to reduce, declines. Patient's temperature is high, hypothermia may patient suffer, and digestion capacity may reduces here, and along with other symptoms like giddiness, okay, these all happen. And filariasis, as you see there, that filariasis also one of the indirect disease we can say. But salmonella, it is written here. We have mentioned salmonella. Salmonella, how it causes? It's salmonella is a bacterial infection. What happens here is when undercooked foods, undercooked meat, undercooked vegetables, okay, when the person will consume that one, For example, nowadays, as you might have seen, the non-veg lovers, the people used to have non-veg outside, that is undercooked, which is not hygienic. Okay, people used to eat in the street level. In the street, what happens? They don't practice it hygienic. They don't see it whether it is fried properly. They don't see it whether it is boiled properly. The only aim is to earn money. So that's why they used to provide such kind of food to the people, then the people will suffer with the salmonella infection. This is one of the severe kind of infection. Okay, so that should be preventable, but people have to have awareness. That's all. So awareness can be preventable these kind of illnesses. And hepatitis we have already gone through, and giardiasis is one of the infection. That's again a contaminated water as well as food. And dysentery, you might have seen the patients with dysentery. Commonly they complain suffering with the dysentery. There is a difference between dysentery and diarrhea. Is in dysentery, what happens? In the stool there is a blood mixed stool, or in the stool pus will come, blood will come, painful defecation will happen. That is dysentery. And diarrhea, what happens? In diarrhea there is a loose stool will come out, okay, in the abnormal frequency. But in diarrhea there is no stool is, present the blood is not present in the stool. So in the dysentery, stool is present, okay, in the a stool, in the stool blood is present. So blood, what happens here? Blood comes out means patient gets weaker and weaker. They may lose their weight, and severe kind of complications may develop. So that's why in the dysentery, the main prevention again is like a diarrhea only. First thing is to, hand hygiene. Hand hygiene is most, easily and possible preventive measure for all the diseases which are waterborne, almost all the diseases. So we have to take care of hand hygiene most importantly. Then in the dysentery treatment aspect, if someone is suffering, so we have to go for giving antibiotics. Okay, these antibiotics can able to remove the infection or reduce the infection from the body. Okay, and dysentery, it's one of the serious problem, because in the dysentery, what happens? As I told, stool frequency increased in the stool, as well as stool is mixed with the blood. So that's why person gets the, lot of weak. Patient gets lot of, fainting, and some patient may not able to go for any kind of work. They're getting tired easily, pain, while defecation pain is there, stomach pain. Then easily they can able to go for, falling down. These all will happen in the dysentery. Okay, and possible prevention is with the proper drinking water, food. Okay, hygienic water, food is important. So this is what about in brief I can explain regarding the waterborne diseases and its prevention. And hence I conclude the topic with the in general preventive measures. As I told you, here prevention is much better than the cure, because we have to think of cure when the person is suffering with the disease. So before suffering, what to be done here is preventive aspects. As we all know that prevention is much more better and it's easily possible. And prevention is always, plays very important role. Whenever, for example, as I discussed with you, hand hygiene is very important and it's possible easily. Along with this, safe drinking water is most important. And also, the people should have awareness regarding the of government services. Okay, so which we don't find in the people's in most of the village areas or remote areas. Fine. So other things is here, the awareness of the parents as well as the children's, that is very important to prevent those waterborne diseases. And also the children's and parents should have, they have much more awareness to this kind of, materials which will be given by the government in the form of webinars, in the form of hard materials, okay, or in the form of, radio, TV, electronic medias. Okay, they should aware, they should go through, they should able to, able to prevent, or they should able to practice these kind of precautions or precautionous measures. Okay, so that's why in the waterborne related things, prevention is easy, prevention is possible, and only thing is that people has to take initiation to prevent and to follow all those measures. Thank you very much. Hope this will be useful in some extent, and still we have to work on it lot of aspects, because as you know, the water is important, lifeline for the living beings, and here we have to go for the adequate drinking water, and that's a right for every individual, and it's a right, and it's a responsibility of the government to provide every individual, safe drinking water. Okay, in periphery level also, periphery level in the sense till the from the metro city to till the remote places or village areas or hill station areas. Okay, this is how we can able to prevent these deadly diseases, and hence we can reduce the mortality, morbidity rates of waterborne diseases. So hope we can able to do it in the upcoming days, and the future days we can have effective prevention, effective measures we can adopt, we can able to follow, and we can teach the peoples in more and more numbers. So hence we can able to prevent from these kind of diseases. Thank you all.